Hello honeybees, hello my book besties, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be doing my Q2 wrap up. I am super excited because the past 3 months have been pretty good reads and I feel like I got a good decent amount in. If you don't know, or if you're new here, I have now decided to stop doing monthly wrap ups because I feel like I don't usually read that much every single month for me to be doing monthly wrap ups. So I decided to start doing quarterly ones, so that'll be 4 quarters and you'll get like every 3 months. So I'm super excited. If you have not watched the previous wrap-ups of the first quarter of the year, I will link both of the videos I have down below in the description. I did December and January in January for a wrap-up, and then yeah, it was February and March had their own video. So 2 months had their own video, but here we are. We're gonna be continuing with the quarterly ones. So today we're gonna be covering April, May, and June. And again, all 3 of these months were super exciting, super fun. Let's just go ahead and get right on into this video because there's a lot of books and I have a lot to talk about. Of course, we're gonna be starting in April, so I'm super excited. April was a pretty decent month. It wasn't the best month. My average rating was 3.83 and my page count was 1,131 pages. And for genres, I had 3 romances and 2 contemporary, 1 YA and 1 fantasy. I read a total of 3 books in April, so not a bad month. It was still pretty decent, I guess. Let's go ahead and start with the first book. We had Between Friends and Lovers by Shirlene Obuobi. Now, this book was a pretty decent one. I rated this a 3.5. It was not my favorite book, let's just say that. I enjoyed it in its own way because I really love that like Jo was a relatable Black woman, and as a Black woman I really related to her in the sense of, you know, figuring out how to love and trying not to be hurt within it. I love how in the end she ended up having that love and finding that love. However, the things that disappointed me the most were like she seemed like a stereotypical kind of Black woman in a way because she was kind of showcased as a charity case, which was not my favorite thing at all. I didn't like that. That's just stereotypical to have like a Black woman be taken in by the white family and then like from there kind of, it was, yeah, that was really messy. In the end, I really feel like Ezra really stressed me out because I feel like if he really did want to have feelings for Jo, and if he had those feelings, he should have showcased it to her. And I feel like it was very much a iffy dynamic, and I didn't like the way that their relationship kind of was just wrapped up in a pretty box at the end. I feel like there should have been more explanation for the both of them at the end of the book. I definitely feel like we didn't get what we deserved at the end for Jo and Ezra, especially because they were supposed to be good friends, you know, at the end. So that kind of disappointed me. However, can we talk about Malcolm? I love this man. I really love how he showed like Josephine love. Like he was the definition of like if he wanted to he would, and basically I really love that. And Jo was like a social media influencer. I forgot to mention that she's a social media influencer slash doctor if I remember correctly, and she was giving advice on like sex advice like on social media. Ezra got to know Josephine through them being neighbors, but also this is how she also got to meet Malcolm because they met at this event that Ezra's mom was throwing. And I really did love the relationship between Ezra's mom and Josephine. I feel like that was so sweet. It was a very cute relationship. However, like I said, feeling of the charity case kind of thing kind of threw me off and I didn't like that. So altogether this book was like a lot in it, but it was so good. It was under 400 pages. It was still a really decent book. However, I do wish it wasn't so stereotypical. The second book I read in April was The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. Now, I started this series earlier in the year. I loved the first book. The second book, I rated a 4.5. It was not a 5-star because there was so much happening at the end that stressed me out a lot. I was like, there's no way we're about to go ahead and repeat history real quick. I was really thrown off by the ending. And at the time, I did not have like the third book in hand, so I was like really going through it in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I need the third book like yesterday's dinner. I literally did not know what happened at the end, honestly. Like it kind of threw me off. Like the ending literally threw me off. I was like, there's no way that happened. Evangeline should have known from the start though. Like she kind of fell for the trap part 2. Like she shouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? Like she fell for it again. It was kind of dumb. I was like, girl, ain't no way we're repeating the same stuff from the first book. We gotta get it together. She did not get it together. She was not locked in. Altogether, this book was really good. Again, Jax's character. Ooh, that man, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You know what? It's okay. You know what? I love Jax though. Like, Jax is actually really great. I love the sarcasm he has. He's very much like me. I am him and he is me. Okay, I love him down. It was still kind of the same as the first book in a way, but also it was a little bit different. We got to find out some more things about Jax and a little bit more about Evangeline, and I feel like altogether the book was amazing. Again, the only thing that threw me off was the ending. And last but not least, the last book I read in April, The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. I have to read it off the thing because I don't remember this name like that. This is by Lori Gilmore. Now, this book I was so excited for because I heard so many good things about this author regarding the rest of the series, because there's multiple other books. She has like fall and a winter book, and I really wanted to get those ones. I just didn't have the time to, so I missed out on that season. However, you can read all of these books as standalones. They're not like required for you to like read all of them. However, they do have a little throw in of the rest of the characters, because I can tell from reading the back of the other ones. However, it was not a good book. Like, it kind of felt, how can I put this? It felt insta-lovey, but like it wasn't at the same time. So basically this is about a single dad. His name is Archer, and so he ends up finding out that he has a daughter. Boom bow. He was not expecting it. He has to move from France to take care of Olive, and Olive is such a sweet girl, but she is so traumatized, and it's not her fault, you know, she literally just lost her mother. But yeah, that was really sweet. Also, this book has a surprise pregnancy trope. If you do not like that, I can already feel myself not liking that, because it was such a throw off at the end of the book. I really hated that. I really did. I did not like that, because it just felt like it ruined their relationship in a way. And then like at the end, she kind of just, again, tied it up in a bow and just said goodbye. Like, I need more. There should have been more explanation for everything. But I did love Iris as a person. I love how close she got to Olive immediately. She took on the job of being the nanny, and I just feel like even though she didn't really find herself liking kids, she ended up really loving Olive, and I really love that for her. Their relationship, Archer and Iris, I love how they both wanted the relationship, but they also really wanted to protect Olive in her heart, because of course, like I said, she just lost her mother. So anyways, altogether this book was okay. It was average. It wasn't a great book and it wasn't a horrible book, but it definitely wasn't a favorite. Alrighty, let's talk about May. Now, May was a pretty decent month. I'm not gonna lie. May was good. My average rating was 4.65. I read 5 books in total, and as for page number wise, I read 1,934 pages. And as for genres, 4 romances, 3 contemporary, 2 fantasies, 1 sports romance, 1 YA. And all of these books, guys, I'm not gonna lie, are so good. And I finished a couple of series, and you know, or I continued a couple of series. I started a series. I felt like May was definitely a good month. And if you have watched any of my previous videos, I did a 24-hour reading challenge, and this is where most of those books lie. So this is super exciting. Starting off strong. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Yeah, she was a fairy. I rated this a 5-star. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there was so much happening in the second book. It tore me up at the end. Oh, the way she ate me up at the end. It was really crazy. It was out of nowhere. I just felt like I was just thrown to the wolves at that point. I was like, Rebecca, why you do me? Why you do me like that? Like, Rebecca, like, I need like a life support lifeline. You need to pay for my therapy. Yeah, the second book definitely started off slower than the first book, because of course this is the continuation. I don't want to say too much about the second book, because if I say too much about this book, it'll ruin it. But yeah, if you haven't read it yet, you need to read it. I'm not kidding. I am not really a romantic girly, but I really started being in my romantic era this year, and this is one of the top books for me. This book was so good. Like, Xaden and like everybody, every single character, first and foremost, amazing, dealt out well. I don't care what nobody say. Every character is original, has their own backstory, has their own mindset. I love that you can see their personalities through Violet's POV. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's so amazing, because the certain things they say are crazy, but you can tell who they are by the things they say, and I love that. First, let's talk about the beginning of the book. It was really twisty for me. I didn't like how slow it started. It was a really slow start, but like once we got to the middle of the book, it really got to moving, and just like these different aspects that she threw in here, I was like, oh my god, like, what are these creatures? Like, what is this? And then like I was like, okay, and then we was getting into it. I was like, cool, I like it. The ending is where it threw me off the most. I was like, girl, ain't no way she just did it like that. Like, can we talk about how she just ate me up at the end? Please don't get me started on Xaden and Violet though. I really love them. I love their relationship. The chemistry is off the pages. I don't care what nobody says. It's off the charts, off the pages. Like, their love love is amazing, and the angst and the tension and the hunger they have for each other, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so well written. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I want me a Xaden. I want me a protective man. I want me a man who will kill for me. Like, I want that. I don't know, I don't need that, but I want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything about that man. He might be fictional, but in my head, there's a Xaden out there in this world, okay? But yeah, again, the beginning was kind of repetitive. I was kind of losing it after a certain point, but that middle ground got me, and the end definitely had me too. The character development also of Dane. Y'all know, if you watch the like reaction from when I had the Fourth Wing vlog and my reactions for my wrap up of the Fourth Wing book, I literally couldn't stand Dane at the end of the first book. He irked my whole soul. Oh, I almost started tweaking. I don't know what he did at the end of the first book. I was about to tussle with him. He had to die. But you know, now he's redeemed himself a little bit. So the second book, we didn't get much of Dane, but we definitely love how Violet stood her ground. She was not playing about him after he did that BS in the first book. But yeah, I could go on and on about the second book of this series, the Imperium series, because I already like, oh girl. Anyways, the second book, wrap it up. It was really good. It was really good. That's all I have to say. Read it, please. Read the series. Please read the series. Read the series. It is not overhyped. It is so good. Read the series. Speaking of series, the third and last book of Once Upon a Broken Heart series, I finished the series with A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I rated this one a 4.0. So of course this was my least favorite out of all of them. This book was definitely repetitive. I did not like the fact that, like I said at the end of the second book, I didn't like it, and then she threw us into this trap in the first book, and it just kind of felt repetitive, and we were repeating the first book again, and I didn't like that, and I was so irritated. I was so irritated by that. I just could not stand it. But this time Jax was a little bit different, and I'm not gonna say too much about that, but like Jax was definitely a little bit changed after the third book. It was really stupid. I was locked though after page 20, and like this, it was no kidding, like turning those pages, like it was no, yeah, I don't know what Apollo was on. I don't know if I was being gaslit at the beginning of the book. I don't know what was happening. I felt like I was being gaslit at the beginning of the third book. Like, I think that's why it threw me off so much, because the second book ended in this way, and then like the third book came, and I'm like, hold on, is somebody like trying to gaslight me? Like, I shouldn't be the one being gaslit here. I'm the reader. Like, this isn't funny. I was stressed. But yeah, I really do love that Jax was always trying to be there, keep Evangeline safe. And again, this time it wasn't all Evangeline's fault. Like, I love that some things were picking up at the end. Like, I can't say too much, but I'm really glad that girl got what she got, okay? She's stronger than me. I would have gave up after that. After a while, I would have been done. I would have just been over it, because like, y'all not really keep stressing me out the way y'all stressing me out, okay? Overall, I feel like this was definitely hands down a really good series altogether. I love how this series was like all put together, and I'm very glad that I got to read it. I'm glad that I took the chance, took the leap of faith to get into romantasy with Stephanie Garber, and I feel like she did it right, and I feel like she did amazing in it, and it prepared me for all of the things the Imperium series done to me. On to the third book I read. Oh my gosh, guys, I actually love this book. It was Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yogisawa and translated by Eric Ozawa. Now, if you watch my 24-hour reading vlog, I was obsessed with the quotes in this book. This book has so many beautiful quotes. There was everything in this book. I rated it a 5-star, like hands down 5-star, hands down 5-star, like 10 out of 10. And it was less than 200 pages. It was small, it was short, it was sweet, but it was so packed and it was so good. I loved it. I love that this also had a different dynamic than any other book I've ever read. Like, it was about a niece and a uncle. This book was about Takoko's life kind of falling apart in a way. Like, her boyfriend of years like broke up with her, and he was getting married to someone else. Then at the same time, she lost her job, so like her life just comes crashing down all within like, you know, like not even months, you know. And then her uncle, what's his name, Sotoru, invites her to come into work in the bookshop, which is the Morisaki bookshop. And from there, like, you know, Takoko begins to grasp life again. And I really love that her uncle Sotoru was there to help her. And I also love that we got a part of Sotoru's story as well, and his life with his wife, and you know, that kind of stuff. I feel like altogether this was a beautiful story. It was wonderfully written, and every single piece of the book was like poetic. It was written well. I really do love translated fiction, like especially East Asia. It's something about their like books translated into English English that just make it sound so much more beautiful. I don't know, but you know, it was so beautiful. And every time I read a translated fiction, I feel like I'm getting an experience that I don't get with American authors, and Japanese literature is one of those places. I really love the dynamic between Satoru and Tokoko. I feel like they had a really cute relationship. I really love that Satoru was so upbeat, but you know, he was also going through his own things, and I love that he helped Tokoko heal. So altogether, I think this book was beautiful. The people that we got to meet throughout the book was wonderful. Altogether, hands down, this book was amazing, beautifully written, and I would definitely read it again. Cannot wait to get my hands on the second one. More Days at the Morisaki bookshop. I will be getting it soon. But yeah, the quotes were really good. I was eating some of the quotes up, and I really loved it. And it just also reminded me that like small moments in life can build up to be bigger impacts in our lives as well, that we may not even expect it to when we're not thinking about it. But when you do think about it, you'd be like, oh, that small moment in my life really did change me in a way I never expected. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely a big lesson from that book was that one. I recommend it. I definitely do. On to the third book I read in May. I read Say Your Memory by Abby Jimenez. Now, this is her new release. It just came out not that long ago, actually. It literally came out in April 1st, and I got on it in May. It was a good book. I really felt my soul in that book. Like, it was such a relatable book. I related to the story and Samantha's story of her mother going through Alzheimer's. I have a grandmother at home going through Alzheimer's, so I feel like this book really was a parallel to my life in this way, but it wasn't me who was experiencing it. I was kind of thinking of my uncle the whole time I was reading it, because maybe these are some of the emotions he's feeling as he's taking care of his mother. And mind you, he's doing this pretty much by himself, and so I was kind of thinking about him as I was reading the book, and I really felt like this book was very well written. I really love one thing about Abby Jimenez books is that she literally incorporates real life situations and like all these things happening in our real lives, and she incorporates that into a wonderful romance. And though it's not the head core of the romance, it's one of the biggest parts of that person's life, and I really love that about her. Like, she eats it up every time when she does it. And so far I've read 3 of her books, and she just does amazing work every time she does it. I don't know how she does it, but she eats it up. I really feel like Samantha's family, dealing with her mom, dealing with the Alzheimer's, and her husband, Samantha's mom's husband, was really going through it. I feel like that, yeah, like I said, that real life aspect and just thinking about it through a romance aspect was really crazy. I really do love Xavier and Samantha though. Like, the romance between them was, ooh, it was tea. I was eating it up. Did I tell y'all what I rated this book? I rated it a 4.75. Now, there was one thing in here that stressed me out the most. Their financial problems came and stemmed from some of the stupid stuff that they decided to do within the house with their mother in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they decided to have this big project being done. Like, I feel like they weren't smart with their money, and they really needed to be taking that into consideration, and they didn't. And that was definitely just one thing that irked me a little bit, so I did dock it down 0.5, you know what I'm saying? So as for the romance in general, I feel like Xavier and Samantha are so sweet. I feel like it was very cutesy. I love that they're like connection was instantaneous, and it wasn't about like spice, or wasn't insta-lovey kind of instant. It was kind of like, you know, I have this general attraction to this person, and I feel like we could vibe, and they were vibing together, and I really love the vibes between them. I really love that. I also loved Xavier's friends. They were really funny to me. Like, they were hilarious. I don't think I talked about this, but Xavier had like some different things going on in his life as well. Like, he wasn't just happy-go-lucky. He was a vet, but he also had an abusive childhood, and I think that was definitely one aspect that I was not expecting. I was like, wow, I did not know. But anyways, this one person in Xavier's life when he was younger kind of comes in full circle moment at the end, and it was so beautiful. I was like, wow, and that really hit me. I was crying. Abby Jimenez does it every time. She's gonna make me cry. She's gonna do one thing, she's gonna make me cry. And last but not least, I finally started the Chestnut Springs series, and I started Flawless. Y'all should be proud of me. Clap your hands. Y'all already know how I felt about Elsie Silver in this book, right? If you don't know, I'm gonna just give you a gist. I was like turned off by reading some of her books because I was like, I don't really know if I'm into that cowboy romance kind of thing. But you know, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. My man Brett is a bull rider, and like, I don't know about him being a bull rider and also being like gentleman, wearing rings, had long hair, like handsome bod, like everything. I was like, I'm gobbling this up. I was talking about in it. I rated this book a 4.75. Really loved this book, but it wasn't like 5-star material. The attraction between them two was kind of instantaneous again, kind of sort, but this kind is a little bit more lusty than what I was talking about in Say You'll Remember Me, where the instantaneousness came where they were like attracted to each other like in this other way. But this one was a little bit more, yeah. I think Summer's character was beautifully written. Guys, this book actually taught me something. I'm a people pleaser. I didn't know I was one until I started reading this book, and I didn't realize it, because Summer is also one of those people. She's kind of people pleasing, and she really feels like she needs to say yes to everybody and try to make everybody else happy but herself. I'm gonna need this book to mind me business, okay? Because you didn't have to call me out or anything like that. You know, that was really disrespectful. I wasn't expecting to be called out the way I was being called out. I was like, ooh. But yeah, now I know what I know. But yes, it's crazy. I also love that Rhett was a very dynamic character in the way that he only found himself loving one thing and he had to find himself in another, and he didn't think he could. But I really love how they worked together to help each other through both of the things that they were going through. Summer definitely had it the worst. I feel like she had a really hard childhood first and foremost, and there was just a lot of stuff with that. One thing I didn't like was her dumbass sister. I really hated Winter. Like, please don't play with me. Like, why are you playing with me? Like, Winter, please. Winter, please. And her ex, oh my god, oh my gosh, guys, please don't get me started. I did not expect what I learned, and it was really crazy. Rhett did some really crazy stuff though. Like, he had a lot of anger issues, which also kind of turned me a little bit off a little bit. But he also was very gentleman-like, which was like a really interesting combo. And it was still really good. I love the small town aspect. I love the brothers already. I feel like Kate is gonna be my favorite one. Personally, I don't know. Now, last but not least, let's move into June. Stats. I read 4 books in total with an average rating of 4.38. So this was another really good month. June was really good, and I read a total of 1,628 pages. And as for genres, I had 4 romances, 3 contemporary romances, and 1 fantasy. All 4 of these books were really good. They were pretty high rated for me. None of them were 5 stars though. Starting off with Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I finally jumped on the bandwagon onto Carly Fortune, and I'm super excited to continue reading her. I feel like she did an amazing job in this book for me. This book was really good. I gave this a 4.75. I can't believe this was my first book by Carly. It was really good. It was so interesting. It was so fun. Her writing style is so scenic, and the way she writes it just makes you feel like you're in the place that she's writing about. Like, I felt like I was over there at the bay. However, it was so hard to put this book down. Like, I really wanted to just keep reading, but I had so much happening at the same time that I had to put it down every now and then. But it was really good. Like, all the way through, it was a page turner for me. I love the concept of this being like a family vacation home kind of thing concept, and like 2 friends. I feel like that was really cutesy. So like friends to lovers, I really love that dynamic. That is one of my favorite tropes. I love a good friends to lover romance. I feel like Sam and Percy's connection was very sweet. It was really cute. I love how like at the beginning it wasn't like even about them being like in love with each other. It was just like straight up being friends and getting to know each other. I feel like that was really cute. I feel like their romance was kind of a throw off though. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Percy and Sam were 2 different people. I feel like Sam was very smart and he had like so many dreams ahead of him, and I feel like Percy didn't have any real dreams ahead of her, and I feel like there was no character development for Percy, shall I say. For Sam, I would say he did have some character development. For Percy, I feel like she was still kind of the same as she got older. It would have been nice if she had changed a little bit. Altogether, I really loved their relationship though. I feel like if Sam communicated a lot more when they were younger, I feel like certain situations wouldn't have escalated the way they did when they actually started getting into the relationship. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, yes, they were young, but there was a lot of stuff going on at the same time. However, that little twist at the end, oh girl, Sam is way better than me. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have took her back. All throughout the book, I think that's also what kept me page turning, is like, what did Percy do? Like, what happened? You know, like that was like the thing that kept going through my head, like, what's going on? What happened? What happened? But this was packed nicely, wrapped up. I folded it. I made sure it wasn't wrinkled. Like, I flattened it out and then I put it in there and I put the bow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was clean. It was, you know, described well. Their ending was great. On to the next book. Why did I decide to torture myself again? I don't know. I decided to read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I rated this book a 4-star. Now, this book was actually one of the books I've read this year that really hit the nail on the dime for me. However, it wasn't even like my situation. It just felt like I felt every single piece of wanting for a mother in this book. With that being said, Emma, I really loved Emma's way of thinking, but I love how this one, it was both of them had like different things going on at home, and it was both related to a mother. But I think it was really important to hit the nail on the fact that your traumas from childhood, even though they may be minimal or small, but there are many things in your childhood that can affect your adulthood. And Emma is a perfect example of that because she chooses empathy over everything. And I feel like that's really important. I'm also a person who chooses empathy first. Emma has that. Emma was the character who had a lot of empathy, a lot of love for others. And I just felt that deep connection with her in that way. And it really was so sad just watching her go through this over and over and not feeling a sense of stability because she always wanted to worry where her mother was and what was going on. I also love, as for Justin, like his situation was kind of similar. His mother was about to go through some things and he was about to take on another situation that would change and alter his life. However, as a dynamic, the both of them were so amazing, so sweet. I really love Justin. Justin was so, like, I don't know, he was like the perfect boyfriend character. He was so sweet, caring. Also, he was so organized. Like, he was so type A. He was like me, low-key. The things he did were so cute. Like, his little acts of service were adorable. I loved Justin. Like, Justin was so sweet. I feel like Emma really needed somebody with that kind of structure in her life. I feel like that definitely helped her when she got with Justin. But anyways, I really love the two of them together. I feel like they were perfect for each other. I definitely recommend this book. Okay, so I must have been on like a teary kind of journey. The next one is Promise Me Sunshine by Kara Boston. I don't know what possessed me to pick up this book. I mean, I know what possessed me. Everybody was talking about it and it's a new book and I was like, I really want to read this author. I rated this a 4.75. There was one thing in the book that made it. I love this book. Reading Lenny going through grief was another kind of sentimental thing to me, and I felt every moment, like those random moments where you just cry out loud, those random moments where the grief just hits you and you don't even know where it came from. I felt that in my core. Anyways, that was just one thing, but like I also felt like all the emotions came off the pages for me personally. Miles' character at the beginning, he definitely was giving a-hole energy. I don't care, he really was. At the end, you could definitely see that, like, well, not at the end, but like throughout the story, you could definitely see like within him, he wasn't just like an a-hole. He was really actually just trying to figure out what was going on. The situation he was put into was very different. You know, he was also going through a hard time. Like, that man was also stressing out, but he was trying to make the situation better. So he asked Lenny for help and he would help her. I love how they helped each other, and it was really beautiful just watching how Miles had a connection with Ainsley. Ainsley is a really cute kid. Love Ainsley. I also love that connection with Reese as well, just trying to regain that relationship with her. And I really feel like it was a beautiful kind of story. I love when a book does that to me, where it's like the main thing isn't like the romance, but the romance was like kind of integrated throughout the end. It was so beautifully put together, and I love that. Oh wow, we're on the last book. I feel like I've been talking for hours. Anyways, the last and final book of this video that I will be talking about, and you will be so proud of me, I finished 2 series all together in these 3 months. Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my gosh. This was my least favorite book out of all 3 of the books. No lie. I feel like I was not expecting the dynamic she put in there, like in regards to the dragon thing. I felt like it was like SETI abroad, you know, with dragons. At some point it really did feel like that. It was disappointing, but it was so gripping at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was still a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Still, the amount of plot twists. Oh girl is setting us up for the 4th book. I don't know what's gonna happen in the 4th book, but I do know that the amount of plot twists that she was adding between every single thing, I was so shocked. Then Xaden and his, like, and him all together, and all these changes within him and all this stuff that was going on, I was like, whoa, I wasn't prepared. And then he started saying things. And I was not, there's a lot. There was so much. It was so much. It was just thrown on you, and you're like, whoa. You might have missed it if you didn't go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. Also, just trying to find out about Violet a little bit more. I love that. Like, getting to know a little bit more about her real background, where she's like really from. Oh Lord, look, this 3rd book really ate me up. I'm not gonna lie. I literally cried so much though, crashing out at the end. There was just so many tears shed within the last 175 pages. Words are not comprehensible right now. Like, I can't speak. It was a lot happening, let's just say that. But yeah, I rated a 4.0 and I really did love the book, but I really was disappointed by certain things. But at the end of the day, it was still a pretty good read. I'm just really ready for the next book. Anyways, you guys, that was my second quarter wrap up. I know it was crazy. It was very long. I yapped about a couple little books. I'm going to try to cut as much of this footage as possible so that way it's not too long for you guys. If you made it all the way to the end of today's video, comment down below the magic wand emoji because I feel like I read a lot of romanticy. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time I post a new video. Please don't forget to be true and be you and read whatever you want to. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next bookish video. Bye. Mwah.